Okay, so we're recording. We're hot.
We're live. We're live.
Live to us.
Oh,
Live
okay.
to us, live to you, live everywhere around the world.
Technically, we're in the future right now, but we don't know it yet.
Shit.
In the future, tomorrow, today,
And I can
yesterday.
edit this out so people don't know that we are talking from the past.
Why?
Past tomorrow,
Just fucking keep
today?
it. People like that shit, right? Right?
People like to be in the know.
Yeah. Don't they want to hear us bantering for like 5 minutes and shooting the shit?
Bullshitting
And then
for the
I
next.
told them, take it out.
Put it on the table. Show me what you
Classic
got.
flexer.
All right. Here we go. Let's do this. All right. Welcome back to United We Nerd, the first episode of 2024. What is up, everybody? The full squad is here, ready for a new year, and I hope you guys are ready as well. For those of you that are joining us today, of course, my name is Brian, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Joel. How you doing, bud?
Yo. I'm good. How are you, Brian? How are you, Marcelo, who's also here?
Yes.
I'm also here, yes. I
The
am
full
Marcelo.
squad.
New year.
Doing all right. I'm glad that we're all here. We can all celebrate the new year together. But before we do that, I want to tell everybody out there that's listening and watching this right now that this is the United We Nerd podcast, where a bunch of nerds just come around and talk about the nerdy stuff that we like to talk about. And of course, if you want to talk about it with us, there's a few ways you can do that. You can join us live on our Twitch streams at twitch.tv/United We Nerd. You can leave a comment on YouTube in the comment section, as well as any podcast services that allow you to rate and comment as well. Please do that. It'll help us grow. Because, Joel, Marcelo, what is the new year without some resolutions? And I figured that this year, we're going to be heading to the third year of the podcast, a great resolution is to get more nerds involved. So, a mission for everybody out there, if you like the podcast, please share it with anybody you know, no matter if you're listening or watching. Interact, have a conversation with us. We love to talk with other fellow nerds like yourselves. Having some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's grow this podcast so we can get as many nerds as possible to have fun, have conversations, and there's going to be a very special event happening. Like I said, this is going to be our third year coming up on February 25th, our 3-year anniversary. We are going to be doing a very special live stream on Twitch. Mm-hmm. For those of you who know, halfway through last year, we started toying around with the idea of doing special live streams that are a little bit more competitive. And so this is going to be the evolution of that. So what we decided as a group is that on our anniversary, live on twitch.tv/United We Nerd, we are going to be having the first ever battle for the Nerdy Weight Championship. That's right. Ooh. We are going to have a championship for the podcast, and you guys can get involved. Help us by coming to the stream, having some fun, and seeing history-making stuff, like who's going to be the first Nerdy Weight Champion. So, with that being said, end of house cleaning. Joel, Marcelo, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to 2024. How are you guys doing? Joel, let's start with you. What were we doing on break?
I was playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3, to be honest.
Of course.
Too much. What else? I watched What If. That was good. It was fun. Enjoyed season 1. Season 2, I think, was just as good, if not better. So,
Nice.
and dodging Marcel's texts about watching certain movies as usual. So,
Oh, what a surprise!
So what movies are on this list? I keep hearing about it, but I don't know what.
there's at least
movies.
2. I'm sure there's many more Marcelo knows, but one of them is The Whale, and the other
Oh,
is Creed
yeah.
3. Creed 3.
Okay.
So it's 2.
And
And
Marcelo,
he definitely did. And let me tell you, he definitely
Oh, go
didn't
ahead.
watch them on break. He had like
Uh,
a whole
Killers of
month
the
off
Flower
of work.
Moon.
Yep, didn't watch either of them.
I did not have
Mhm.
a whole month off. I had a week off. Thank you very much. But yes, it's true. I did not get to them.
Which a week off for you was like a month off for anybody else. So you know you had all the time in the world.
And I got food poisoning. So I was like, kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Bleh.
Yep. Had all that time. Couldn't even watch
You know what
3
I
movies.
did see, though? You know what
Oh,
I did
what?
see? Brian, for the first time, I saw the Sinbad movie by DreamWorks, actually.
Oh, that's right. You were over on New Year's Eve. We watched some good old classic DreamWorks movies, and it was fantastic. We saw Sinbad, and we saw How to Train Your Dragon 2, which I've never seen
Yep.
before. So that was a treat. It was actually
Yeah.
a pleasant surprise. But yeah, I'm really surprised you haven't seen Sinbad before.
Oh, just never got to it.
What happens in the second one?
Well, the
Oh,
movie-
that's the one with the big dragon.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Jimon Hansu's
I mean,
the bad guy.
it's been out for a while, so I guess like the spoiler territory is kind of null and void. It's the one where Hiccup's dad dies,
Yeah, and he finds his mom.
Yeah. Okay.
so he
Okay.
gains one parent and loses the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
He has
Okay.
the flame sword.
And also, I have confirmed that Hiccup is indeed Canadian.
Yeah, definitely, because it's the guy from
Hey,
Seth
Rochelle.
Rogen's. Yeah,
Hey,
thank you.
Rochelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That guy.
I was making a joke. I was making a joke while we were watching. It's like, man, every time he calls Hiccup Bud, it sounds more and more Canadian. It's like, oh, come on, Bud, come here, Bud.
Yeah.
It turns out the actor is actually Canadian. So I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Marcelo, how was your break?
Well, let me tell you, it was not great.
Oh, okay.
Let me first start by saying kids are gross, and I love them. But they touch stuff, and then inevitably they touch you, and then you get sick, and then you spend your break being sick. But in that time, what did I do? Oh gosh, I don't know.
Saw each
What did
other.
I?
We saw each other.
Huh? Yeah, we did see each other, huh? We learned the story of Jesus Christ through the story of song, so that was fun.
Oh, wonderful. Wholesome.
Yeah. Let's see.
I can actually say the movie he's referencing. There's a song with Antonio Banderas. It's actually not bad. What's it called again? I forgot. Oh, you
The
put it
song
on,
or
bro.
the movie itself?
The song? I haven't watched the movie. Plus, I haven't watched the movie yet. You know it's me. Come
So wait,
on.
what movie are we talking about?
It's the 2023 classic Christmas movie, Journey to Bethlehem. You laugh, but it's actually a really fun movie.
What's this on?
Oh gosh,
We're not being paid to advertise for yet. Anyway.
pay me because I love this movie.
Oh wow, okay.
The song is called "Good to Be King," and it was a really fun movie.
Oh,
I
I've
thoroughly
heard
enjoyed
about
it.
that song.
Yeah, I
didn't-
thoroughly enjoyed it.
I didn't know it was recent. Okay.
Yeah, it came out literally like a week or two before, before we like I stumbled across the song on my
All right.
TikTok.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know. God, it's a long story. I'm not going to get into on the pod today
Hey
about
man,
why.
algorithms are weird.
Hey man, hey listen, man, listen. My daughter started asking some questions about some stuff I wasn't ready to have a conversation about, and then it just so happened that I could describe the stories better in song form. So
Okay. It's like we're gonna have the internet take care of this, hun.
Yeah, TV raised me, internet can raise you. So you know how that goes. What else?
What's the difference?
Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, just been chilling. Not a lot of time for video games, unfortunately. I started playing Super Mario Wonder, but like, I mean, when I say
Ooh.
started playing, I mean literally just did one level. I
Okay.
turned it on, started playing it with Og, and we played the first level, and I was like, this is impossible to play with a 3-year-old, and then we stopped playing. So we're not quite there yet.
So with that small experience, how do you feel? At least Wonder is with having a small child. Like how was that experience? I know you're saying it was difficult, but
it's super fun. I mean, the game itself is super fun. It looks really pretty. I downloaded the DLC for Pokemon.
hey, there you go.
Nice.
So I did play that.
How far did you get in that?
Have you played it?
Oh, I finished all of it, dude.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if Joel wants spoilers though.
I'm not gonna get that game. I'm still at Baldur's Gate, man.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Then fire away. This for anybody that doesn't want to hear about Pokemon DLC, tune out for a little bit.
All I will say is I got to the Mask Festival part, and then the little boy got all butt hurt because I didn't want to talk to him or whatever, and then that's as far as I got. And then I stopped.
Kieran gets a bit butthurt real quick.
Yeah, he's kind of a pain in my ass, if you know what I mean. So that's about as far as I got.
Okay.
And I need to go back and play. I need to travel. I've been traveling again for work, so I need to just start taking my Switch with me again.
It's the perfect airplane companion. I do it for every trip I go on.
I know. I just wish it was just like the Switch is like this. I just wish it was like just a little bit narrower, just for me, just because I got like the big shoulders, So it's like I don't want to be like this on like the plane. So it's like move over.
Did you just buy the first DLC or did you buy the whole bundle together?
I just bought the whole bundle. It was like
cool.
$35, I think.
I think you will, because I remember back when we were playing like Black and White and stuff, you would power through Pokemon games like it was nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might really, with that being said, you might really enjoy the second piece of DLC, the Blueberry Academy stuff, because that one had me struggling a little bit, not like in quality, but like in like how hard it can get. Because I feel like where the first bit of DLC is mostly like build up story to lead to DLC 2. Mm-hmm. This one is like, okay, you need a challenge because you're so late in the game that we are going to make the battles challenging so that all the battles are 2v2. Mm-hmm. And all of the like gym battles for that section actually have like comp level difficulty. Like the NPCs actually have like very like competitive viable teams, which is really interesting for because like Pokemon games can get challenging, but I never really seen them do like this like level of like challenge before. So I think you'll really enjoy that.
Yeah, this first one, like, I don't know if it's just me or what, but it's a talker, man. Like, it just goes, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Like I said, like the first one, like in retrospect, is very much a setup for the second one. Like this is like we're introducing you the character, so we don't have to do it later.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's fun, but I just like I literally sit there and like I'll be like watching something on TV and just like skip through all the text. Like I don't give a shit about anything. Like I just want to fight stuff, man. That's where I'm at. I just want to fight stuff.
Oh, yeah, you'll love 2 then. There's a lot of fighting in DLC 2.
Yeah, and then other than that, this is beyond break, but like I know you guys. I think you guys talked about this already, but finally got to see Godzilla yesterday.
Yeah,
yesterday.
Let's go into it. What were your thoughts of minus
Hell yeah.
one?
Oh man, like I said, if I would have had an opportunity to talk to you guys last year, if I would have had an opportunity to see this last year in 23, it would have been my favorite movie of 2023 with just how awesome it was.
Yeah.
I could do a whole episode on this movie by myself on how much I love this movie and just how great of like how good of a movie or how great of a job this movie does at just the exploration of like the metaphors of war, PTSD, survivor's guilt, you know, like everything that this movie does, especially in a post World War II Japan, right? And how good of a job it does at the exposition of what those people returning back from war, like what they must have felt, you know, something that we as Americans probably have no clue what the Japanese would have experienced. Um, and so just, you know, like all of that was in the back of my mind the whole time watching that movie. And like, you know, I'm watching Monarch, or I'm like
Bro,
slogging through Monarch right
I
now.
haven't even started yet, dude.
Right. Okay, so
Same.
well, we'll have to talk about when you get to it. If you get to it, we'll talk about it, right? But I'm struggling, right? Because I want to see monsters, right? Like, you know, that's what I want to see. I want to see kaiju fighting each other. But like with this movie, you know, Godzilla is definitely a set piece, and I was just very interested in the cast and the characters in the movie because they did such a good job.
Right.
The actors did such a good
Yep.
job that like Godzilla, like I probably like even if Godzilla wasn't in the movie, I was just like so invested in the characters.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Like they did such a good job with the characters, which is such a unique thing to, you know, to the Toho universe and how they do Godzilla movies, that they do such a good job making you care about the characters versus like, you know, on this side of the ocean, like I don't care about any of the characters in like the American versions of anything of like Kong versus Godzilla or King of Monsters. I don't care about anything with like the like the Monarch stuff or anything. I just
Yeah.
want to see Godzilla like fight Kong on a fucking battleship.
And that's a testament because at least during like the heyday of Godzilla, like most of the Heisei films were just Godzilla versus something, you know, and the humans were there. Like maybe there's like one or two, you know, or like a small handful of the movies where like the plot for the humans was okay, but the main attraction was Godzilla versus a big bad
Right.
of some kind.
Yeah.
Where this is literally taking it back to the roots again, I guess you could say, because like kind of Shin Godzilla was kind of like taking it back to her roots in a way, where Godzilla was the antagonist in a
Yeah.
sense. But even in that, like the human plot was interesting, but at a point through the movie, it kind of gets like muddled a little bit, and you just want to see Godzilla wreck shit, and he does. But what you're saying, like, for anybody that says like, no, I just want to see like big monsters fight, I can understand that. But then I will proudly present minus one and be like, here's what a very good Godzilla movie can do when they treat the human characters with like care and they give you a story to care about. Because I swear to God, like every character in that movie, I actually care about them. Like I care
Yeah.
about like what they're going through and their struggles and like trying to figure out, you know, how to be Godzilla without the military's help. And then everybody trying to, you know,
Yeah, it was definitely
band
like
together.
a ragtag, and like, you know, like the twist at the end with like the main character, like I kind of saw coming, but I didn't, and but like it was still impactful enough where you were like, fuck, like this is intense.
Yeah.
Like it was still an emotional reaction to me, and like I don't use it, I feel like I use it as a crutch now, but like as a father and as somebody who's, you know, whatever, like all that kind of shit still like resonates like with me now, and I'm like, that stupid motherfucker like fucking did that shit, you know, like all that kind of stuff still reacts well. um but on like, so that's like on the story level. On like the actual movie side, like with the budget that they had, right? This movie in
Such
comparison,
a small budget.
like such a small
Yeah,
budget,
yeah.
but the way that they made this Godzilla look was so cool because in some angles and in some scenes, it looked like a man in a suit
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
in some angles, and it looks so cool. And then, of course, the CGI looked like I was, you know me, you know how I am about like CGI, and sometimes it looks really shitty, and sometimes I'm like really critical about it.
Yeah.
Especially like high budget movies. Like, come on, guys. Like, but like I like knew this was low budget for what it was, but like it didn't matter to me in this movie.
Yeah.
This was the best representation of an atomic breath that I've ever seen. It was so fucking
It's
cool. Like it
so
was so
scary.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a dope movie. Like there was a lot of things that I liked about this movie. And I'm still processing a lot of the movies that I saw last year. Which I know we're already getting into 24, but like I still think that we need to do a breakdown as a group, because I know I've been kind of MIA and stuff like with all of the movies that I saw last year. Because there was a lot.
There was a lot. And I want to touch on the look of Godzilla real quick. Because I don't know if you knew this. It was in the credits, but the design for Godzilla in -1 was made by Square Enix.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they got Square Enix to design and animate Godzilla for the movie.
Dude.
And to add on to the coolest implementation of the atomic breath, I think also one of the coolest charge up sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude.
Where Godzilla just becomes like a pile bunker, and like having all of his spines like stick out as it's charging up, and they all just go back in the body as he just fires the beam out. Oh god, it's so
yeah,
cool.
I just love that they couldn't do anything. Like there's literally nothing that they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a dope movie. I loved it.
Made Godzilla terrifying.
Yeah, it really did. Like you really
so scary.
very scary. Because I don't think I've ever seen Godzilla like reach down and like eat people in that way that I can remember,
or literally stomp on civilians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because
Or
like
play with them on the beach.
Yeah, because like sometimes Godzilla is so big that like the destruction is just like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's hard, like the destruction is just so big that it's like, oh well, like of course people are gonna like get like fucked up or whatever, like versus like, hey, here's like early 1950s Japan where things are a little bit smaller, things like the scale is smaller, and you know things are constructed differently, and all of a sudden it's like the chaos is just different. And then all of a sudden here's this giant fucking monster thing coming at you. So yeah, it was dope.
I can't wait to see it again.
I know.
I know.
It sucks because it's going to take forever to come out.
I hope not.
Yeah,
because Shin Godzilla I feel like it took forever to come out on like Blu-ray or whatever digital. I feel like it took almost a year for it to come out.
You know what pisses me off?
Streaming services.
They don't reprint Shin Godzilla that much, but I keep fucking seeing them fucking Matthew Broderick Godzilla movies on shelves. Well, I guess not anymore, but for the longest time, I've kept seeing them on shelves. I was like, I need some good Godzilla. Hopefully they'll bring like the black and white version when they release it in theaters in Japan.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool to see. I guess.
What about you, Brian? What you been up to?
Boy, did I do some gaming. I actually went through my gaming backlog, and I actually started taking chunks out of it. You guys knew because I messaged you guys. I beat Spider-Man 2 finally.
Hell yeah! Woo.
Great game.
hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Such a good game.
It's so good. I'm kind of sad because now I have nothing to do. Like, I could have tried 100% it, but I feel like where I'm at right now, I am satisfied on where I am with Spider-Man 2. I don't know if Insomniac is planning any DLC. I know they said I know they
I'm
said
waiting for New Game Plus. I don't know about you. That's what I'm waiting for.
I know they said that they were only focusing on the main game, and they'll think about it later. So that's fair. I think what we got with the game is well and beyond, anything that, I can expect as far as interesting side missions that actually have nice little story, like mini story beats for the character. Especially a lot of Miles's side stories are actually really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can understand Insomniac like leaning towards going along with Miles for like future games, because I feel like what they've been able to do with him with the past 2 games, I guess I should say the past 3 games, but at least the past 2 with him actually being like Spider-Man, he has a lot of cool stories that I think they could tell. And of course, maybe we'll have Peter come back, every once in a while they'll have like another team up, or they'll have other characters come in. But I appreciated the way they handled having 2 Spider-Men in the game, as far as like having their own individual skill trees, but then also having one that's both for both of them, so they like share abilities, which was nice. It felt less grindy, which is weird when you have a game with 3 skill trees, but it felt less grindy to do. But yeah, characters are great. It took me a little bit, but I started getting used to the new Peter face, because I didn't play the PS5 version of the first Spider-Man game, so I haven't gotten the chance to actually take a good look at it yet. So that's a thing. But yeah, Spider-Man 2, love it. Really good game. I think Spider-Man 2 won our bracket of the year.
Yeah. I put Baldur's Gate behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh well, I don't think I did. Well, I don't know where I was, but I put Baldur's Gate and I put Spider-Man 2 behind it, but it's okay.
It's okay.
I won.
Joel did the last minute swerve, because I thought I was going to be leaning to Baldur's Gate too. So
damn traitor.
I know, right?
I mean, look at me now. I'm just.
That's true.
I will say, now that you beat it, Brian, what do you think your favorite boss battle was? And then I have one other comment after that. There were some great boss battles, I think.
So
very cinematic, very also
So this is kind of I'm gonna be cheating a little bit, because I'm putting variables, because I'm gonna say 2. There's 2 that I can think of. One is like a pseudo. I call it a pseudo boss battle because it's a very more for the story than it is of how challenging it was. So first, I'm gonna say, I guess like spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Spider-Man 2 yet. Like, again. The Venom versus Kraven fight.
Oh, it was so good.
That whole Venom sequence.
So good.
I was talking to you a little bit about this, Joel, but like it had such a good balance of like that power fantasy, but then also showing how terrifying Venom can be as you're playing Venom.
Yeah.
Like you're bursting through building like window panes and like literally the structure of like the building you're in itself, and then going out into New York, Kraven finds you, you have your big battle, and then having fucking Venom bite his head off was fucking wild.
It was fucking raw.
Yeah, that whole sequence was fantastic. I think this won't be man, it's so hard to choose. Like, of course, the Sandman one was a great opener. I'm going to put an asterisk on that just because that's just a set piece in itself that you can't ignore. But like boss battle that I really, really digged, I probably would have to go with the Miles versus Peter was really good.
That was so good.
It was
Man, I was about to say my guy was about to skip over the best fight.
it hit all the good plot points. It hit all the good emotional sticking points that they wanted to hit with that. You know, with Miles being like the best Spider-Man he could be, into trying to talk Peter down and talk him out of it. You know, being what Spider-Man's supposed to be, where you have the juxtaposition where Peter is, you know, like getting so close to just being fully like venomized, you know. It was really good. While I was thinking about it, I wanted to do an honorable mention, the Peter versus Scream fight. That threw me off. Like, I did not expect that at all. That was super cool. And yeah, I'll stick with those for now, because I'm sure there's going to be more I'm going to think of later that are going to pop in my head, but I'm going to stick with like those fights for right now, for sure.
You agree, Marcelo? We didn't have a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, no, the Peter versus Miles fight was great. I like the Peter versus Craven fight too. Was pretty good. And I like the MJ with the Glock running around.
the Shocky Glock.
The Shocky Glock was fun.
One honorable mention I'll say, it's not a boss fight, but it's a cool sequence that I really enjoyed. Miles and Mr. Negative going into Peter's mind, teaming together, and then having Martin Lee like sacrifice his powers to save Peter, thus having Peter become Anti-Venom was fucking dope. I loved it. I was like, how are they going to have Peter use the symbiote powers? Because there's still like stuff in his ability tree I haven't unlocked yet. It's like, well, let me show you Anti-Venom real quick.
Yeah.
No, it was a good game. There's a lot of solid moments.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
What else? I played God of War Ragnarok's DLC Valhalla that came out near the beginning of December. I finally got to play through that. Really good. Like, Ragnarok itself is already a great game, but having DLC that just displays the combat gameplay even more, having a roguelike feature in God of War that actually really works, and also giving us some more story, which is fantastic. I love God of War's story. And so to get more of that was actually really nice. And the way, I don't want to spoil too much because, Joel, I know you're going to be playing. You'll play it eventually once you get through Ragnarok first. It wasn't exactly what I expected, but that is a good thing. Like, this isn't really much of a spoiler, but like, you know, like most roguelites, you'll have different rooms that you'll keep going through, and there'll be different enemies they have to fight through. Not only did they bring back villains from the past two God of War games, they brought enemy characters from the original God of War games. So like you're gonna see enemy types that you haven't seen in a long time, and it's actually really interesting to see like a newer version of them, like all, you know, brand new and like has new models, and having the new Kratos kind of like, you know, fight them again. It's really cool. The story beats are also really nice. I think if you were to like grind through it, you can get through it pretty quickly. I think for me, I did it in about 3.5 sittings to get through like most of the story, and apparently there's a little bit more story after that. So I'll probably dive into that a little bit later. But yeah, highly recommend Ragnarok Valhalla. It's really good, and it's free. It's free DLC. So if you have Ragnarok, there's no reason why you shouldn't play it. What else? Oh, I finished Assassin's Creed Mirage just the other day.
Nice.
How'd you like it?
I really enjoyed it. It had the charm and the scuff that a classic Assassin's Creed game would have. And I know for some people that kind of puts them off, but for me, I enjoyed it. It was able to give me a little bit of nostalgia, but also keep some of the aspects of the newer games, and also kind of expand upon ideas that they tried to introduce later on before the reboot games happened. It harkened me back to pretty much where they were trying to go with Syndicate, in a sense, just as how the game felt. Because you had a little bit of the parkourness that Syndicate had, which is kind of like a dumbed down version of Unity. Not the most elegant thing in the world, but it gets the job done. They did a great job of giving you variety as far as assassinating the main targets, which I believe Unity introduced. That they kind of tried to bring back in Valhalla in the DLC, but I felt like it was kind of a missed opportunity that they couldn't implement it more. So that was really nice. It felt, the world's beautiful. I've said that before when I was playing the game. The world is very beautiful. It's big, but not too big. So basically, you have your main missions, and of course, you have like a little bit of the collectathon stuff that I did a little bit. But Basim is a very fun character. If you'll meet him in Valhalla in his old age, and so you get to see his beginning and like kind of where you kind of see where his path will lead him into Valhalla. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was very good. The characters were fun. But yeah, just an overall fun Assassin's Creed time that I very much appreciate. And I know that their Code Red, the Japan Assassin's Creed game, is I think the next one on the docket, and that's going to be more so kind of like the Valhalla Origins style, where it's the bigger like RPG open world. I hope that Mirage did well enough to where maybe they can like switch off every couple of years and like do these smaller ones, because I feel like they did something really good here. Is it fantastic and amazing? No, but I feel like as the Assassin's Creed community could use smaller games like this every once in a while. But yeah,
Was it in general? Was it a pretty short game, or was it pretty long?
it's a shorter game. I'm trying to remember. I think
Like 30 hours, right? Versus like Valhalla's 40 or 60, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
It's like roughly 30 hours, depending on how fast you kind of cut through like the main quests. Yeah, you can get through it pretty quickly, quicker than any of the more recent Assassin's Creed games, that's for sure. But yeah, it had a lot of.
I bought it on.
Oh, that's right, you actually bought it.
I did. I don't remember what system.
PlayStation?
Probably PlayStation. Yeah, probably.
I say it's still worth playing through if you had some fun with it. Definitely harkens way back to like the original Assassin's Creed games, which I guess is the point, because this kind of helps set up kind of where things lead to the first game as far as like the environment. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a really good time. And I'm just kind of glad that I have an Assassin's Creed game that I was able to beat in a few months instead of 2 years, like the past few games. Oh, I played two new mobile games that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Both have different varying experiences. So I kind of want to punch low for a second before we can lift it back up. So if you guys aren't familiar, I mentioned before that there's a Devil May Cry mobile game that was being made, and it was released last week, called Peak of Combat. And I took one look at it, and I realized that this game is not for me. Which sucks because I'm a very big Devil May Cry fan. Let me tell you guys what.
Want to hear why?
So, the mobile game itself is pretty much like, what if we had a Devil May Cry game, but for mobile? It's like, okay, you can imagine there'd be a little bit of scuff, but it's whatever. The models looked weird. They looked very much like it is very obvious that somebody else had a hand in this. Like, that wasn't directly Capcom, which I think someone else actually did make this game. The voice acting is confusing. So the cutscenes are very obvious that they've got some voice actors to kind of just do lines, and they aren't the original voice actors for the characters. Only like the big cutscenes have voice acting, and then at some points during gameplay, it will just be text, which is confusing. And get this, so apparently this game took very much inspiration from Devil May Cry 3. Mostly because a lot of the characters, Dante, Virgil, and Lady, all appear in their Devil May Cry 3 look, for the most part. And then you also have Nero from Devil May Cry 4, his look and 4. Apparently also down the line they're adding V, who has only been in 5. So I am beginning to believe that this game is just living in a pocket dimension, because apparently even though it is styled like 3, they're kind of pretending that 3 didn't happen, but they're also 3 did happen, because they'll kind of because like Dante and Lady will be already working together, and that'll be post 3, but then Virgil's doing something which doesn't make sense because Virgil's like trapped in the demon world with Mundus, so that doesn't make sense. Also, there's gacha, of course, because it's a free-to-play game, so there's got to be gacha. You can unlock characters, and they have different costumes. One of the first characters you can unlock is Nero from 4, so that obviously changes things, because not only do you have characters that look like they're from 3, acting like they're from 3, but are not from 3, but also you have Nero that's from Devil May Cry 4 hanging out. That is not involved in the story, but he's there. I played about close to 2 hours before I gave up, and I'll tell you why. Don't think I mentioned about voice acting. The reason why I truly believe they just lifted 3 and used it as the bones for this game is because they had the simple voice acting from like different actors for the cutscenes. In the game is the exact same voice lines, the action effort voice lines from Devil May Cry 3 for Dante. It's exactly the same. I shit you not. I even went back to some Devil May Cry 3 footage just to make sure, and guaranteed they are the same exact effort noises from Devil May Cry 3.
Wow.
So that's interesting. Now you guys know that Devil May Cry 3 is all about its stylish combat. You know, you do the combos, you do the weapon switching, you have fun with it, you kind of, you know, just mess around, try to get a good style ranking. For this, you have your combos that you can upgrade. You have a move that's tied to a button, which once you use it has a cooldown, which already makes it kind of weird because it's like, so if I have Dante do a stinger, I have to wait for a cooldown in order to use it again. So that's like, I can't combo in and out of that. Not to mention, two of his styles are switchable, but then two of his styles are implemented into his moveset. So he doesn't have all his styles that you can switch between. Also, if you're playing with controller, some of the buttons don't work. So you have to, like, let's say if you want Dante to use his double trigger, you actually have to tap the touch screen to activate. So you have to go from your controller and then reach down to touch the touchpad to activate it. I don't know if you can map. I didn't get that far because I didn't care. But the game really wants you to do the microtransactions. Because not only can you do gacha for costumes, do gacha for characters, you can do gachas for the weapons that the character uses that you have to upgrade in order to beat the more challenging enemies.
Of course.
And of course, from there are also items that you need to help upgrade you even further. And you can upgrade your character, you can upgrade the weapon, you can upgrade the move sets with in-game, currencies and whatnot. And the one thing that beguiled me is apparently they already had a 2.0 update. And for some reason, it took out Dante being able to use guns.
Hey, man, just remember, a gacha game's always going to be a gacha game, so...
But let me just say that again. Dante, the guy who was known for going Wahoo Pizza Time with his sword and his pistols, Ebony and Ivory, and the game actively does a patch to where he can't use his fucking guns. What the fuck? Like, I'm getting actually frustrated right now. It's like, what is this game? It's such a husk of what Devil May Cry is. Like, there's literally jokes on Reddit having a picture of someone holding up Devil May Cry 2. It's like, well, maybe you weren't that bad. So I stopped playing. Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, it's nice that they're trying to do more things with Devil May Cry, which is great. You know, we're getting the anime sometime soon on Netflix. I hope actually this year. The only positive I could say about Devil May Cry Peak of Combat is that we got a new song by Casey Edwards, which is cool. Always down to having more Devil May Cry 5-esque music coming through. So that's the only bright point. So I'll go from there. I know I'm being long-winded, but I'll go from there. And Joel, I think both of you actually really enjoy this, but Joel, I think you might really enjoy this. I played another mobile game called Mobile Suit Gundam UC Engage.
Oh, I've heard of that one, actually. I've heard of that one.
Joel, if you have any mobile device that could handle it, download it. You'll have a great time. This is the complete polar opposite of what Peak of Combat is. UC Engage, honestly, I think is going to be my new mobile game obsession for a bit. So, for people that don't know, UC Engage is a project that they've been talking that, Sunrise and like Mobile Suit Gundam have been talking about for a while, where it is a celebration of the UC timeline. So what they did is that they made a tactic strategy mobile game where you'll have your mobile suits, which is great because when you play the first time, they let you pick a mobile suit out of a list, and it's a pretty good list. I ended up choosing Unicorn because, of course. But it's pretty much, they're celebrating the entire UC timeline. So I guess from original Mobile Suit Gundam, actually even MS Origins, all the way to Turn A. And so you unlock mobile suits, you unlock pilots for those mobile suits to kind of help boost it up. And basically there's a whole story mode where you go through big moments in UC's history. And what's great is that it's fully voice acted. It's all Japanese voice acting, but it's fully voice acted. They have snippets of the original anime that'll be shown to kind of like help you get into like the timeline that you're going into. But then also they have newly animated combat sequences. So basically how the game is worked is that you have your team. You can have like a team up to like 5 mobile suits that you can choose and upgrade. And then from there you have a battle. It starts out with a battle grid, and you can set them up on your side of the grid in any like formation that you prefer. And of course, they have like this kind of like rock, paper, scissors things where it's like there's, for example, there's green, blue, and red units. Well, red can beat the shit out of blue units, and then blue can beat green and green beat red, so on. So you can kind of strategize what you want to do. And the game actually does a good job of telling you when you're at an advantage or disadvantage, which is really nice. But from there, you set your pieces on the board, and then you begin the battle. And the game itself kind of plays on its own, and you get to watch. But what's really cool is that you can change it from an like above camera angle, like a top-down camera angle, to having it be a third-person camera angle, and you're right up into the combat with whatever mobile suit you're looking at the time. And then like they'll have EX moves that you can activate that like give your either your mobile suits buffs, or they'll do like a special move based off of their mobile suit. Really, really cool.
I just installed it, by the way.
Fantastic.
What do you think I'm doing?
Hey,
What do you think
there we
I'm
go.
doing?
I'm selling them. I'm selling them, guys. I'm doing it. But I've been playing it all weekend. It's been super fun. Since it's their launch, they have a lot of free stuff that they're giving away. I haven't felt the need. They don't pressure you into buying anything. There is microtransactions because it still has a gacha system, but it feels less pressured. And especially since I've literally unlocked so many mobile suits already without spending a dime, which is great. Like, shit. I picked Unicorn first. I already have, the Arc 78 2. I have Zaku. I have, ground type Gundam. I have, some Zakus. I have, a good list of mobile suits already.
Podcast over. We're playing Gundam.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry, guys. It's over.
But yeah, so the ones I also highly recommend, because they do ask you if you want to do a full download. If your device has the space, I'd suggest doing that, just because it runs a lot smoother doing a full download. But you can choose whatever you want to do. If you have a good internet, it might not be a problem. Highly recommend. It's so, if you're a big Gundam fan, like anybody out, like I know these two are, go try it out. Like, this isn't a sponsor or anything. This is just another Gundam fan telling other Gundam fans, check it out. It's a good time.
Gundam.
Please. Oh my God, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, So that put me in a good mood. You know, after kind of like being soured on one mobile game, it's really nice to have another one that I can actually go back to and have fun with. And of course, I'm playing on my tablet, so it's a nice big display and it looks really crisp and clean.
Do I install on like my iPad Pro? So it's like 13 inches of like.
There you go.
Man, this looks hella good for mobile. We've come a long way. Holy shit, you guys, this looks sick.
Oh, bro. Dude, even like once you get into it, even the gotcha cutscene before they show you what you got looks sick as fuck. And okay, here's a cool thing I want to tell you. So when you do a pull in the gotcha, they do a little battle cutscene, like newly animated, like, you know, Amuro comes in the Gundam and Char comes in the Zaku and they're fighting in space. And that fight is basically just to tell you how good of a pull you got, because if you got a really good pull, the battle keeps continuing. And it's
Nice.
and I'm not going to spoil anything, but depending on your pulls, there's different mobile suits that can appear as well. I'm just going to say that. But yeah, Mobile Suit Gundam UC Engage, super fucking cool.
Damn, they really trying hard to make Char's counterattack good.
Oh yeah. So
Love
yeah,
that movie
I
in
really
some ways.
recommend it.
All right, well, good to know, Brian. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Could put a pause right here real quick. Marcelo, you said you had to go put your kids down?
Yeah, give me a couple minutes, guys. Let me go put the kiddos down, and then I'll be back.
All right, I'll just pause the recording for now.
All right, give me a sec.
Cool.
Thanks.
Well, I don't know. I feel like kind of wrapping up on that. I don't know if you guys wanted to get into some news that we
Sure.
missed.
The news you posted for today, oh my god. But yeah,
Yeah.
fuck.
So if that's not any indication of where we're headed, let's just jump into it. Let's get into some news. All right. Looking up at our topic section. How do you guys...
record, right?
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
recording. Oh, don't
Okay,
worry,
I'm
man.
like,
I got it. I ain't
I
almost
didn't know when the go was. I didn't hear it. Fuck.
been almost doing it for 3 years.
Yeah, I'm just making sure.
They didn't fuck up today.
I mean, if you did, then whatever.
So I don't know if you guys want to just tackle this news story right off the bat, because it is depressing in a sense. One reoccurring story that we've been seeing throughout 2023 was, of course, how the video games industry loves laying off people. You know, and if you thought that 2024 was going to be the winds of change, I would beg to differ. Because apparently, according to multiple sources, in the first 2 weeks alone in 2024, there has been enough layoffs to cover about 20 to 25% of last year's layoffs already. And it's only been about 2 weeks of January, so that's fun. Let's see. Kotaku here has a article that they're updating constantly, which is unfortunate, of all the video game companies that are laying off people. There are a few here. Some don't have exact numbers, so I'm just going to kind of go off of the big ones that were announced this past 2 weeks. The first big one being Unity, laid off 1,800 people, which, according to them, is nearly 25% of its staff. And of course, for people that didn't hear the news last year, when Unity went through they're trying to renegotiate their terms, and it got a lot of people in the industry mad because they're going to try to nickel and dime people. Of course, they went back on it, but that hurt the company a lot. And so they had some layoffs last year, and they had a lot more already. And apparently, according to Kotaku, the layoffs will be completed by the end of March. So I don't know if this means that it's like it'll be finalized or if there's more to come, but that number alone did a big chunk of the number this year. The day after that, on January 9th, Twitch laid off 500 people, which they said was about 35% of their total staff. It doesn't say exactly why they were laid off. I know at some point last year, Twitch said that they were getting out of South Korea. So I don't know if that's where a lot of the staff is coming from. But apparently Twitch is going to, through Amazon, is going to go through a little bit of a restructuring. So that sucks. Let's see. A few days after that, Discord laid off 170 people. Was 17% of the company's total staff. Discord did a big hiring boom during the pandemic when a lot of people started using Discord. And just like a lot of the other companies, they're now trying to suffer that bloat, which sucks because that means more people are being laid off. And there's a few other companies, smaller companies, that are having layoffs for certain reasons. But to think that we have barely gotten into 2024 and we've already reached 25% of the number that was laid off last year is wild. It's kind of hard to believe.
And a lot of what this is too is just what? It's just the video game companies, right? Doesn't even include all the other companies that have started laying people off.
Oh no,
or
yeah.
the other tech companies and stuff.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. This article is only covering like the video game industry in general. Like, there's been layoffs in a whole bunch of other different sectors of, industry and whatnot. But man, like I know it. Like we talked about it a lot last year, and it never gets any easier to talk about it. And it's sad to say that it's kind of getting old at this point, where if it's like, all right, another company's laying off people, but it still sucks because that's a lot of people still. And what's unfortunate is like not only the people that are being laid off are suffering, but the whole industry in and of themselves is suffering from this, because that's a lot of knowledge that's just being thrown away. Last year there's been so many layoffs that it's so uncertain. Like, a lot of people that still have jobs in the video game industry feel uncertain how secure their job positions are, to the point where people that are being laid off are just leaving the industry in general. This has been happening all last year, and it seems like it's going to be continuing because a lot of the higher ups, got very confident during the lockdown, pandemic, where they were hiring a bunch of people because, everybody was buying video games and, because they had to stay home. There wasn't anything else you could do. And now they're suffering for it because that bloat has to be cut somewhere. And of course, the executives for most of these companies aren't going to, foot the bill themselves. They're going to be cutting it, from other places. And unfortunately, that means a lot of people lose their jobs.
And there's also this big pressure, right? A lot of these companies who were so like remote, like have all of a sudden like started this pressuring of like, oh, we're going to start bringing people back into the office, as if it drives productivity any different than working remote too, and then people don't want to come back to the office, and then they start laying people off, and then they're like, well, we'll find people that want to come into the office, and it starts creating this chaos of like, you know, like, no, I don't want to go back into the office. Like, well, it's different, right? And I don't know what your guys' opinion about it are. Like, my job is mostly remote, hybrid-isk. Like, I go into the office, I have things I have to do in the office very, very rarely, but my company is a remote first job, which is great for the, like, being a remote first job. Like, what a lot of these companies don't realize is that it really opens up the ability to really source and find great, talented people anywhere, right? In these types of industries where, people like to be you know, eh, all over the place. Um, like, I don't think that having to force people to come back into the office is the right solution for a lot of these cases. And again, we're 4 years past the pandemic, and COVID cases are now. I'm getting, now I've totally tangented from what you were saying, but now this is just something
No,
that was on my it's totally off my mind, but like this is just something that I've been thinking about in the past couple days. Like, and I'm sorry to totally derail this,
no,
Brian,
go
but
for it,
like,
dude. Go for it.
like
I mean, it's
COVID cases
interconnected.
are higher than ever before, and like, yeah, we have vaccinations and stuff and things for this, but it's like it's not getting any better, and people
Uh,
are still getting sick and people are still dying from this, but it's like, why are you still forcing people to come back into the office, and when there's not really a need to, you know, people can still be productive from home. I don't know. That's
it's
just
all
my 2 cents
about
about it.
it's all about that control, baby.
Like, your office space is still a write off at the end of the year. Your leasing space is still a write off at the end of the year. You don't need to force people back into the office. Um, and like I said, like
But
the amount of people, the amount of talented people that you can find by being a remote first company is crazy. Like, you know, at least that's my thought about it. That's why I'm happy where I'm
no,
at.
yeah.
So
I mean, and that's important because like I think out of the three of us, you definitely have a better idea of the possibilities that could be happening at these companies. Working for a
Yep.
company yourself that is tangentially involved somewhat in like the video game realm as well as other, facets, but still it's kind of nice to actually have that kind of perspective within it. Joel, I know we've talked
Yeah.
about a lot of this last year. I- Is this a big surprise to you that we're still having to deal with this kind of news?
It sucks that like you brought it up already. Like I'm desensitized. These are people losing their fucking jobs because the suits are profiting. We see it in our games we play. It's I think I just want to reiterate like the horror stories of like people who were like going back to what you said, Marcel. It's like, no, you can't work for our company. You have to move to our state, work here, right? It's like, can you guarantee I'm going to be here for a year? And I see the horror story. It's like, no, I moved here and then got laid off. It's like, why did you make them waste their time? They're in a new place. They left, and it's
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. There's beyond. I don't have the words. Like what a loss.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully for the people that are laid off, hopefully they can find new work. I'm sure there's a lot of companies that would love the experience that those people have as,
Right.
whether it's, game development or it's, site wise for, other companies or dev wise, hopefully they can find their feet. And I don't know, like silver lining for me that hopefully maybe this mass exodus of, people from all these companies will hopefully turn around in a few years and we'll see a bunch of new small companies kind of come up and have a lot of new indie studios kind of try to, make something for themselves and kind of thrive. That's only what we can hope. So, Thoughts out to
Yeah,
At
everybody
least an
being
efficient union, at least
that too.
something to protect these
That's also
people.
something.
Video game, you know, that's the scary thing for video game, you know, to bring it up. But it's like they need it. Like we've seen it for a whole year, and it's not stopping.
Speaking of unions, did you guys hear about the recent deal that SAG-AFTRA made with the for video game voice actors?
Yeah, I saw
Was
that.
this the AI thing?
Yeah. Joel, why don't you tell us a little bit about?
You tell us about it. I'm not ready.
Fair enough.
You'll just hear me grunt and moan in disarray.
So this is interesting because it's specified for a particular studio. So basically, this I believe last week, SAG-AFTRA, who a lot of the writers and actors last year on a strike, they came to make a deal with a video game company called, I just had it, I think it's Republic Studio, Replica Studios, for the licensing of use of AI replicas of voices in video games. So I remember when this first came out, there's been a lot of what the fuck's going on, rightfully so. So I'm on the fence about this because I've heard this explained two ways. Right off the bat, it sounds horrible, because AI replacing voice acting, that's not good. I know the finals that came out at the end of last year got some flack because they used AI for some of the voice lines in the game. But reading into this further, basically, to sum it up, SAG-AFTRA made a deal with Replica Studios so that they made protections for the voice actors to sign off on that studio in particular to make AI replica like voice modules for like their games. From what I read, basically, like they have to have the actors sign off on it. They get the minimum rate of pay for their use in AI form, and the actors can pull out at any time. They can deny the use of their voice in AI whenever they so choose. So, is this scary? A little bit, but when you kind of read in the fine details, it's at least pointed in a direction to where the actors themselves have protections so that studios like, Replica Studios don't just have free reign. So it's a mixture of like good and bad, because it's bad that there's companies that just want to use AI instead, but it's also good that SAG-AFTRA is at least kind of putting protections for the actors, which is something you kind of want to do. You want to get into it early, because that's the whole issue with the actors strike last year, was that they didn't get in soon enough for protections with like the whole AI and like the deep fake technology and stuff like that, where at least this sets like a small precedent for like at least the video game industry. At least that's how I'm looking at it, Joel. I've seen some some emotions going through your head. Let me know what you're thinking.
You know what would really solve all that? Just fucking pay your actors right. Instead of undercut with AI, but whatever. Like, yeah, protections should have been like the first thing, right? I mean, if I know as a voice actor for sure, like I don't want my voice being used without my permission. I mean, I guess people still do it anyway, right? There's videos out there all over. I mean, sure, some of it's comical, some of it's fun. If you're using it for a project and you're getting paid, that's not cool, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big name or anything, but just like I've definitely seen like other like actors like take it down like right away. Like, And why do you want the synthetic? Don't you want the real deal? I mean, just pay that person that you're copying to do like their job, which they're great at. I'd say like 99% of the voice actors are pretty cool. Like I'm sure if you just pay them, they'll do a great job and be cool about it. But
I forgot where I saw this, but someone posted on like Twitter saying like this, like, yes, like pay your voice actors and pay them for the job they do. They said something like this, like regulated, could help like very small companies that couldn't afford voice actors otherwise, which, you know, I can see that side for sure. But I mean, it's never going to be actually having the live person in the booth recording lines and dialogue. But yeah, like I said, it's just like a mixed bag because on the one hand, like I said before, you know, yeah, it's not the best when someone chooses AI over the actual person. But then on the other hand, at least the actor will get paid for that use of their voice, and also they have the right.
minimum.
Well, I mean, yeah, I say like at least the minimum rate. So I don't know, Marcelo. What do you think about this kind of news?
I don't know, man. I have opinions about AI that are. I have mixed feelings about AI. I see the benefits of using AI for helping companies, you know, streamline processes, and I see the benefits of AI for being able to you know, make certain things more streamlined. I can see you know, my brain works in two ways, right? So there's like the business side of that, and then there's like the creative side of it, where I can see where people who work in these creative spaces, you know, can see where, you know, there's a little bit of a of that, like, well, you know, they're taking opportunities away from us, and definitely, you know, there's a lot of missed opportunities there. But like you said, you know, oh, it's an opportunity for, you know, smaller companies to be able to have access to voice actors. But at the same time, it's like, I'm sure there's a lot of small companies, and maybe there's smaller voice actors who
Oh, for
are
sure,
also looking for that opportunity, right? Maybe, you
definitely,
know, but I'm not familiar with like what the rules are for voice acting and what the minimums are, and, you know, what somebody has to be paid and stuff like that. But it's like, all right, well, I'd be willing maybe to take a lower pay for a lower job, but it's like, you know, at what point are you taking advantage of somebody?
right.
Yep.
And I
It's
think
like,
that difference is like depending on whether or not the actor themselves is a part of the union or not. Because
right.
I know there's like SAG voice actors, and then there's, you know, like non-unionized voice actors,
Yeah.
or actors that haven't gotten into the union yet.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it just all depends on, you know, what side of the scale you're on, like you were saying.
yeah. Like, I feel like I feel like AI can be used in a lot of ways to help us kind of get things started. Like, but I always feel like the human touches should always be there to kind of wrap it up, if that makes sense. Um, like,
Right.
you know, for me, like, English is not my first language, so I still struggle with a lot of a lot of like putting things in the correct context. So I will use sometimes um like chat GPT to help me. Like, I know I have an idea for something, so I will have like chat GPT help me outline things, and then I can work off of that, you know.
Right.
And I'll it'll help me create templates, and then I can work off of that and stuff like that. That's how usually I use it. Um and just to help me create foundations, and then work off of that and create my own stuff off of that. Or Yeah. So I don't know. It's tricky. I think
It
everybody
is.
uses it differently. I mean, do I want it to go out there and like fucking replace humans all the way? Fuck no. Definitely not. Do
No,
I
for
think it
sure.
should be completely taking away whole jobs? Do I think it should be able to save voices and completely replicate the voice of a human after it's been recorded? Definitely not. I think things like that. Um, there's a lot more that needs to happen with
Right.
that. So
And I think I want to, because this just popped into my head. It's kind of echoing a lot of the stuff that you were saying, Marcelo. Um, Back when the Corridor Crew released their AI generated anime, and it got the internet very up in arms, because I follow them because they do really cool stuff and they do a lot of deep dives into animation. They showed how they did it, and they pretty much took an AI that they made or they got, and then they did a lot of their own, set photos of like the ideas they wanted, and then they kind of had the AI learn how to do like a Castlevania style for their anime, and they kind of did it. And then a few months later, they took the same concept, but then they hired animators to do a lot of the art that would then be computer generated to do the
mhm,
same thing.
mhm.
And there's an animator that reacted to it by the name of Aaron Blaze, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. But he is an animator. He animated for Disney for a long time. He was the director for Brother Bear, and now he's independent on his own. But on his YouTube channel, he did a reaction to the the short that they made, the Corridor Crew made, and he went on to talk about AI in general, and it was kind of echoing the same stuff you're saying, where he was saying pretty much like AI could be a very useful tool for artists, but AI shouldn't be the artist in a
It shouldn't be
sense.
the tool. Yeah, it shouldn't be the tool.
It shouldn't be the one artist. It should be a tool for the, because
Mhm.
he was giving examples like, man, I it would be so amazing like if there was an AI, algorithm that could help me like shade all of my drawings, because shading would is like one of the biggest processes in animation because it takes fucking forever. It's
Right.
like, man, it would be so great to have like an AI algorithm that would help me shade my art. It would cut down like half the processing time. It would save so much time and energy.
Yeah.
And so it's just like AI like a lot I've heard of like a lot of animators, at least a lot of veteran animators talk about how it's very similar to when digital art was coming up in the like the late 90s, early 2000s,
Mhm.
where computer can like digital art like on a computer and like stuff like that was looked down upon a lot of people and say it was like they're treating it as a big threat, and it's like, oh, this is going to destroy animation forever. And then it just turns out it's like, no, it's just going to become a tool that people can choose to use if it's regulated. And I think that's what AI is going to have to do, is just be regulated
Yeah.
to a fucking sunder. That way it can be dealt with. Now, unfortunately, like I was saying before, the actors had to fight for that in retrospect, but it seems like hopefully like at least the voice actor side of the union is like getting a jump on that, so they don't have to deal with what the actors and writers had to do last year. And then hopefully that's the same way for animators, like lock it down, get, all the right legalese like in order, and then create it, like make it a tool that artists can freely use to do what they want with their stuff, and just don't steal anything from anyone else.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, just use it to help streamline processes. I mean, Imagine being able to, like you said, help me shade, help me colorize, help me do this. Like, you know, kind of like last year, 2 years ago, what kind of like when a lot of this AI stuff was really starting to get more mainstream attention. You know, I saw this really awesome plugin for Adobe Premiere, I think it was, that was a podcast AI editor, that it was a plugin that would essentially, like, if you have a multi-camera setup, it was this plugin that would automatically cut down your videos for an interview and automatically
Oh,
like cut it down so that like for two cameras and be able to cut down an interview and cut back and forth between both camera feeds and like edit it down so that it knew how to edit
oh,
back and forth between without you having to manually slice the videos. And I was like,
interesting.
fuck, like that would save so much
You
time
know,
having to edit back and forth.
that sounds very similar. I think Spotify has a feature where it automatically cuts out all of the dead air, I
Mm.
believe. It's kind of like in the same vein as that. That's interesting. Okay.
I was like
Wild.
if you do video editing, like something like that, if you do like a lot of interviews and stuff like that, where you have a two angle camera setup for interviews, like the amount of time you would save is huge. You know, like that kind of stuff is important. You know, like I don't know.
It's like, what if we have an editor that just acts like Zoom? Okay. Interesting.
It sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. It's just a big you know, a big new field that we need to make sure that people navigate correctly. And I know it's kind of the Wild West at the moment, but I feel like hopefully, fingers crossed, that, coming in the next few years that, it'll be tightened down more and more, and then we can actually get to a point where, saying the word AI doesn't send a shiver down everybody's spine.
I'm curious to see what the next thing after like AI and like machine machine AI and like I'm curious to see what the next thing after this is going to be. That's what I'm curious about, right? Like AI is one thing, but I'm curious to see what's next. Like what's the next thing?
I guess it just depends if Elon gets Neuralink ready.
Oh God, that's right.
The first test
Hive
subjects of
mind
that.
for real?
It's like whose original idea is it really? uh yeah, I don't know. That's going to be a very tricky subject that we're going to have to kind of navigate towards for the next little while. But we talked about a little bit of heavy stuff, but I felt like maybe we could, sprinkle in a little bit of optimism in the game realm before we kind of wrap things up tonight. If you guys remember at the Video Game Awards, it was announced that Sega was doing a lot of new editions of some of their classic games. We got to see. Well, we got some new news. This is coming from InsiderGaming.com. There are 3 more Sega classics that are set to be remade as well. So pretty much at the Video Game Awards, they showed off, what was it, Golden Axe, Crazy Taxi,
Yeah.
Shinobi, Streets of Rage, and Jet Set Radio are getting new additions. But it seems like there might be a few more that are possibly getting new ones. It says here, speaking to sources, it's understood that Panzer Dragoon, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Sakura Tyson will also be getting new games in development for a lot of Sega things, which is wild because the last Panzer Dragoon game was a digital release on the Xbox One. So it's been over a decade at this point. Let's see. Also, with those games, it's also said that there's including 8 more games have yet to be announced because there are trademarks that Sega had filed for. And apparently, they filed for trademarks for Alex the Kid, Afterburner, House of the Dead, Outrun, Super Monkey Ball, Alter Beast, Eternal Champions, and Kid Chameleon.
Damn, House of the Dead. Damn.
So we could possibly seeing like a renaissance of Sega. Like, hey, you loved all of these old games from the 2000s and late 90s. They're all coming back, baby. I'm actually really interested to see what a new Altered Beast would look like because I remember playing that on the Genesis.
Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio.
Alter Beast?
Have you not played Altered Beast?
No, what the hell is this?
Rise from your grave. It's a really weird game, but it was also cool at the same time because like each level, your guy would just get more and more buff to the point where he just turns into a beast. And you fight these weird underworld demons. It's fucking sick. But yeah, Sega's doing some pretty cool stuff. It's nice that a lot of these old franchises are actually getting some attention. That it's not just Sonic and Yakuza and then whatever Persona game Atlas is making.
Nice. Nothing like a good old Atlas game.
Yeah, speaking of Atlas, the Persona 3 remake's coming out soon.
So much stuff to look forward to.
I know. Dude. What was it? The Last of Us 2 remasters coming out at the beginning of February. That shit looks dope as fuck.
Already a remaster?
They're calling it a remaster, but it's more so like a director's cut. I think they just wanted to use remaster. Because it is technically getting like the little bit of the boost for being on the PS5. But they're getting the 3 lost levels with director commentary. They're also getting the no return DLC. It was their version of the roguelite mode where you get to play as a bunch of the different characters from Last of Us 2. It's kind of like a survival like roguelite game. Which would be cool because Last of Us has really good gameplay, so I feel like it would work. And I think it's been getting pretty good reviewer scores. So here's hoping. And also, they're doing the upgrade pass. So if you have Last of Us Part 2 for the PS4, you can upgrade it to PS5. You can upgrade it to the remaster version for $10.
I will never play those games, and that's okay.
You know what? That is fine. Because I know that it can be very stressful. Especially when you fight the Rat King. Which I'm not looking forward to.
Very stressful.
Which I'm not looking forward to because the Rat King is also in no return. So I'm going to enjoy that fight again. There will be a Xbox Developers Direct on this coming Thursday. I guess when this podcast releases on Thursday, it'll be today. So we'll be talking about it next episode of the podcast. But let me see. They're going to be talking about, they're going to talk to the devs for a few games. Let me, Director 2014. I know they're going to be talking about Hellblade 2 some more. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be getting a release date and not just 2024. Let's see. From Xbox, presented by the game creators themselves, Developer Direct offers an in-depth look at upcoming titles, how they're going to be created, and who's creating them. They'll visit Machine Games in Sweden to check out the Indiana Jones game. They're going to check out Obsidian's Irvine office for Avowed. Oxide Games in Maryland for Ara History Untold. And then, of course, Ninja Theory for Senua Saga Hellblade 2. So that's going to be cool. Have you guys been keeping up to date about the Indiana Jones game?
Oh, what?
Not at all. I actually forgot about it until you brought it up. I just read it really quick too that I knew it was Bethesda and the people who are working on Wolfenstein are working on it. I just saw.
Yeah, it's the Wolfenstein team that's making the Indiana Jones game. So that's going to be very interesting because hopefully they'll answer this question on Thursday. But nobody, because Wolfenstein is known for being a first-person game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so people don't know if Indiana Jones is going to be a first person or third person. You think it would be third person because if you're playing as Indiana Jones, you want to see him. But that team isn't known for third person's games. So this would really be a new turn for them. And also, they have a little bit of weight on their shoulders because I don't know if you know this, guys, but the Indiana Jones franchise, at least movie-wise, isn't what it used to be. So they have a lot of people are looking at this game as like this needs to be the hit for Indiana Jones for the franchise. So I'm hoping they have a lot of good stuff to show or at least kind of talk about. Because I really hope it's going to be a good game.
I would assume they're gonna go like do some Uncharted stuff, like that kind of misadventure, and
That's what it makes sense.
mystical
Yeah.
shit, and that. I mean, that you're third person the whole time as Nathan Drake, save for maybe a few interactions, but I feel like that would be the best way to do it.
And like Uncharted is
did
so.
Xbox really have an Uncharted like cinematic game? Really? I mean, they have their
No.
own. I guess they try to be different from PlayStation, but I mean that's.
They had.
I only got to play Uncharted because of Marcelo. I mean, I think some Xbox players got, they deserve to, see what it feels like, or at least a better version, or hopefully equal.
They got one of the new Tomb Raider games as like a launch exclusive. Like they had it for like a year before it went anywhere else. But I don't think they really had their own like Uncharted like game to themselves. So this would be their first one. And apropos to like Uncharted is like PlayStation's like Indiana Jones inspired game where Xbox is getting an Indiana Jones game,
Yeah.
So
It
I don't
makes
know.
sense, but who knows?
It makes sense.
We might be first person whipping Nazis. I don't fucking know. Like I really don't. Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you. It's like Indiana Jones is kind of. I don't see. It's not like a generational thing for this gen. It's more for like older people. I think. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the fan base is still
We'll
there
see.
because like there's people that still care about Indiana Jones, whether it's people that grew up with it and like sharing it with their kids, or it's like people that are only interested in like the ride at Disneyland, and that's all they know about Indiana Jones, besides the last two movies. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think today they said that there is gonna be no like surprise launches like they did for Hi-Fi Rush last year. So they're getting that kind of rumor out of the way. So it's like, no, we're just gonna talk about these games. We're hoping, I think some of them are hoping for a 2024 release. Although I'm still wondering, what the hell Rare's doing with Everwild. We still haven't heard anything about that game. I'm going to harp on it until we hear something about that game because you can't just show something and, not talk about it. As well as Fable. Fable kind of.
That's what they're doing with Coder.
Didn't Coder get canceled?
It did.
They pretty much did.
The remake pretty much got canceled. They didn't say it was canceled, but it's pretty much canceled.
Sorry, Joel.
I know.
It was. Honestly, I was excited, but After that first year, I was like, I don't know. And we don't see anything else. And so
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, that'll be fun to talk about, see what happens. It's really cool that Xbox is actually, going in and like having the devs talk about their games. It's a nice kind of change of pace. It's kind of, they started doing it last year, and it seems like they're going to keep doing it every year. In January they'll have the devs talk about what games are coming out and what they're working on. So it'll be a fun little treat for all of us game fans. Let's see.
getting an Indiana Jones crossover with Sea of Thieves.
Ooh, now
Those
now you're
savants.
talking.
He fights skeletons and shit.
Dude, I'd be so down for an Indiana Jones set. Oh, imagine this, Joel. You can have the figurehead be the idol.
Yeah.
From the first movie, right?
Raiders of
Lost
the Lost
Ark.
Ark?
Yeah, that was the one that had the idol and the ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that as a figurehead.
so.
Or have it be the capstan. That'd be kind of cool.
What about the Crystal Skull?
They could make that work, actually. Like, they could have like a set piece for your ship that would be the Crystal Skull. It could work.
Alien. Marcelo shaking his head.
I don't know. I'm excited. It'd be cool to see what happens. Yeah. Besides that, I don't know if there's any news topics that any of you wanted to bring up before we kind of wrap it up here.
Nope. Just that the 49ers are going to beat the Packers this weekend.
Sports.
Hope so.
All right. Well, I think that will about do it for this episode of the United We Nerd podcast. We appreciate you guys joining us back here for another year of talking about a lot of good, fun, nerdy stuff. Of course, like I said, reminder, February 25th, 3rd anniversary stream. We're going to be crowning the first United We Nerd World Nerdy Weight Champion. Bookmark it. If you haven't followed us on Twitch, go do that. Twitch.tv/@UnitedWeNerd. And of course, we are everywhere else on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. You can find us there at United We Nerd. We look forward to continuing to have these conversations over there with you. If you so like to have this conversation with us, we would enjoy the time you spend with us. But of course, that's then. We have to say goodbye for now. So until next time, keep on nerding.
Bye-bye.